So the year was somewhere around the 2000s. Me, young Joel, the young Swede, the actual young Swede from way back, staying home from school, skipping out on school, skipping out on friendship activities, just to play Diablo 2 for God knows the fourth time, the fifth time. I'm doing another run. It seemed like every single year, I always came back to Diablo 2. Now what you're looking at right now looks similar to Diablo 2, but it's not quite, and that is because this is the Diablo 2 Resurrected Alpha Tech Test. So this is a game coming out, essentially the remaster of Diablo 2, coming out 2021, and I was invited to participate in the tech test, where you can play the first two acts. You have the Barbarian, the Sorcerer, and the Amazon character to pick from. I obviously picked Sorcerer. I say obviously because, let's face it, it was one of the cooler characters way back in the day, and still is. I think Amazon was the most boring to me, out of these three at least. And then we had, I think Barbarian was pretty dope, but I didn't really know how to play him way back in the day when I was a kid. But yeah, you gotta go Frozen Sork, let's face it, okay? If you guys played Diablo 2, let me know in the comments right now, what was your favorite class and why? I promise you guys that most of you guys will say Sork. I actually like Necromancer for a while because I love the idea of racing an army to fight for you. But then as soon as you came to any boss, you know, he would just immediately... So all this gameplay that I have here is taken from a stream I did a little while ago. How am I going to defeat beta, or if they're going to send it straight to full release sometime in 2021? But I had so much nostalgia playing this game again. And, you know, when I think back to how many times that I've played through Diablo 2 throughout the years, you know, yes, I mentioned that I played it a bunch way back in the 2000s, which sounds like... When I say the 2000s, I think that's like 10 years ago. No, it's not. It's 21 years ago. That's 2 decades ago. All right? Yo, where are my oldies at? Am I the only one like freaking out about the fact that it's 21 years ago? It was 2000? Jesus H. But even back then, I played it a bunch. And then later years, every couple of years, I would actually revisit Diablo 2. Maybe even for a couple of days to play through it again, to play up to like level 80, run a bunch of Bale runs, and then dip. And then not play it again for a couple more years, and then I would come back to it. And I think the most recent time I played Diablo 2 must have been maybe a year ago or something, where we did a Barbarian, and chat was on my case about it was being a boring build because it was a AFK Barbarian build. Shout out to RichJohn92 throwing shade my way. It was not an AFK build, okay? There was a lot of thought and effort that went into this build, and I had a blast. And it was fun playing through the game again. My point here that I'm trying to avoid for some reason, but the point is, the nostalgia is still there. You know, even though I'm playing, yes, Resurrected, you got improved animations, graphics, all this stuff, some quality of life improvements. It's still the same game, and it brings me back. It brings me back to the 2000s when I first played it. All of a sudden, all these memories come back to me. How I would skip out on school to play Diablo 2. I would skip out on playing football with my friends to play Diablo 2. How one time, actually 2 separate times, I was at my... It was during summer break. I went to my mom and I said, I really want to go visit grandma. And my mom was like, sweet, you know, get to, you know, essentially trade off the kid to grandma, and, you know, mama can get a free evening. That's great. But once I got there, I got so bored that I called my mom and was like, I want to go home because I wanted to play Diablo 2. So I faked being sick. You know, I got home and I played Diablo 2 all night. I felt a little guilt trip towards grandma, all right? But at the time, I was so set that I got to get home and play Diablo 2. And another time, I had a sleepover at a friend's house. We were having a good time, but I couldn't get Diablo 2 off of my mind. So I once again faked being sick to get home. And I did just that. I got home and I got to play Diablo 2. I'm starting to think, how much have I gotten out of faking being sick, really? Because I love that these two memories, even though they're connected because of Diablo 2, both of them is me pretending to be sick to get out of something, to do something I enjoy. Maybe this is a warning sign, potentially. But these are memories that I've essentially forgotten. But as soon as I start playing Diablo 2 and, you know, let's say I come up to a boss in Diablo 2 and then I remember, oh yeah, I remember struggling with this boss when I was much younger. And how did I feel at the time? And then your mind kind of goes on this cool journey with how you felt, where you lived at the time. I don't know. It's so weird how connections can be made through you just having a memory that plops up in your mind, and you remember colors of the walls and whatever else that you would have never thought of remembering. Anyways, the mind is really cool, and it's amazing how memories work. This video is not necessarily on memories and how they work and how our brain really affects our thinking, or how we, with our thinking, affect our brain. It's more to talk about nostalgia and how cool it is that I still have an urge to play these old games. Because you can look at some of these newer games that are so breathtakingly beautiful. The story could be amazing. I mean, a game that comes to mind with just looking great and the story being terrific. Look at God of War. Even though that's a console game, absolutely terrific. I mean, that should be Game of the Year, and I believe it was Game of the Year as well. It's not to take away from the fact that we made amazing strides in video games moving forward with graphics and story and how they all look. But you're not the same person you were when you were a kid. So just remembering how you were through playing a game, you remember, I think all the way back to the 2000s, how I was, how I felt at the time. And I would even argue that sometimes it's a little bit dangerous to play through old games, because I played through Zelda Ocarina of Time. I did that on stream, I think a couple of years ago. And that is my favorite game of all time. If you ever ask me, what is your favorite game of all time? I will say, hands down, Nintendo 64, Zelda Ocarina of Time. And I will fight anybody in the comments who disagrees. By the way, please, by all means, put down your favorite game of all time. Okay, it could be current, could be way back in the day. What is your favorite game of all time? Put it down there, let's discuss. I played through Zelda again, and I got hit with the sense that I don't feel the same way about the game. And that's obviously to be, I kind of was expecting that even going into it, but I felt very, very distant. And I feel like it almost ruined some of my very wholesome memories that I had, an experience that I've had from the past playing this game. I remember the game being, and I still think it's, you know, the best game of all time because of my history with it. But some of the memories I had, and you know, being able to solve stuff. And I remember there was certain stuff I couldn't solve, so my mom would go to her work because we didn't have a printer at home, and she would print out essentially like a guide on how to get all the hearts in Zelda. And I would sit there and read through, and I would, you know, be so proud about actually gaining all 20 hearts and essentially fully completing the game. But I don't think I actually fully completed it. I don't think I collected all the Poe ghosts. I think that's what I missed out on. But I don't know, it's just cool how memories work, and maybe sometimes it is better to just leave video games alone and let them be in the past. Maybe not every game has to be remastered. Maybe that's a commentary topic for another time, but I don't know. I'm very excited for Diablo 2 Resurrected. My time playing it, so many memories, and in a good way, came back. And I mean, the game obviously running in 60 FPS and super smooth. Man, you cannot go wrong with that. So anyways, guys, that is my little, I don't know, vintage gaming rant. Not really a rant, it's a conversation at this point, or a commentary. But like I said, please let me know in the comments down below, what is one game that has stuck with you guys? Maybe all the way since childhood. Maybe it's a new one that's really have you as like the best game of all time. I would love to see what you guys say. And yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching some Diablo 2 Resurrected. Like I said, it drops sometime 2021. We don't really know if I get another opportunity to play it. I will be sure to do it on my Twitch, where I stream daily. So twitch.tv/IncredibleOrb. You should all know this by now, but if there's somebody watching only on YouTube, if you're a YouTube frog, what's up? We are also live on Twitch essentially every single day. But my friends, I'm going to let you guys go. Please like up the video if you enjoyed it. Dislike it if you did. Drop a comment down below, and I will catch you guys in the next stream or in the next video later. Bye-bye.